Hey there, how's it going? And welcome back to another wonderful day on the Let's Play world. That's right, we're back. We're finally making more of these videos, and I couldn't be happier. As I've sort of mentioned in the past, my recording situation hasn't been ideal for a while, but I'm finally in a good spot where I can really start sinking my teeth into this thing. I'm not going to make any promises because, you know, I get distracted with other things. We're not going to talk about those things, but I'm definitely going to be making these videos more frequently. That much I can guarantee. And yeah, so I'm just going to kind of jump right into it here. Since the last Let's Play, I really haven't done too much work. But I can guarantee that in the meantime, I'm going to be putting in a lot of time on the world here. I've occasionally hopped onto the world and done little things here and there. I've started to work on this nether mountain back here. That's actually what I was last working on here. I literally jumped into my world here and started hitting record. So we're going to kind of play this by ear. I don't really have a specific plan yet. So yeah, I've been working on this mountain. If you remember in previous episodes, this really was just a skeleton, and most of that is still visible. I've only just started to fill in this little section over here. So I might work on that a little bit today, and then I think the only other thing I've really worked on is the plots over here for the tree farm. And as you can see, I've started to lay out the different heights and actually start to form the shapes. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drop it down probably about 4 or 5 blocks so that there can be a cliff right here, and then I'll sort of transition that into a snowy biome. So that might be something I'll start just because it sounds fun. I'm really just kind of in the mood to bounce around and do whatever kind of sounds fun in the moment just to get the juices flowing and get back into it. Yeah, so I've started to build the plots up here a little bit, like I mentioned. I want to do, I think, like dark oak and acacia on here. So I'm going to continue to make them a little bit bigger. Let's go into spectator mode real quick here. So this one, I'm going to make, maybe I'll have it go out in this direction a little bit more. I want to make them roughly the same size. So I'm going to kind of just tweak that as I go here until I get them to a good point. And I'd really like to work on this one too, simply because it's a pretty straightforward project. I know exactly what I want to do with it. And once it's done, it's going to make storage easier. It's going to make the area look a lot better, and I think I just really like to get it done. So yeah, let's get working on this thing. I went ahead and threw in trees in each of the plots so that I can see what it's gonna look like with all the trees in place, and I also wanted to see where the heights would end up, and I think probably what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move the jungle over to this left plot here, because I think it's a little bit too high at the moment. And this plot's a little bit lower. I'm going to continue to expand the plots. Obviously the 2 on the other side of the river over there need quite a bit of expanding. And the 2 in the middle here also, I think, are going to need to be extended out quite a bit in this direction. So I'm going to pull this one out, probably about 10 or 15 blocks, and then do the same over there. Obviously for the spruce and the jungle trees, they don't necessarily need to be as big because they're taller and much thicker. Oh yeah, and then over here on the spruce plot, I had to extend it out to meet with this beacon beam because I obviously didn't just want the beacon beam going through the water. And I'm probably going to continue to push it over a couple more blocks. And then I'll just recarve the river into this mountain here and then just chip away at the mountain. So yeah, I've got a pretty decent chunk of work lined up for me here. I'm kind of just going to jump in and I'll update you guys as I go if there's anything important to mention. See ya.
6.5 hours later.
All right, welcome back. It's been about 6 or 7 hours of work at this point, I would say. And I've spaced it out over a couple of days, so it wasn't all just in one sitting. And yeah, this is what we are looking like behind me. Oh, is that a witch? Where's that? I hear her. Well, anyways. Oh, there it is again. Oh! Abort! That actually worked out quite successfully, I would say. Sloppy sloppy. This is a cave that I haven't lit up yet. Or is it? Is this just like a little pocket in here? 35 seconds of poison? Jeez! Okay, okay, I get it. Still got 15 seconds. Ah! All right. Where was I? Yes, tree farm progress. So obviously the most noticeable difference is that all of the trees are in place, and I decided to throw them all in as I was expanding the plots so I could get a good idea of how everything would work as a finished product. And I'll go ahead and go into spectator mode real quick here and just show you the new plot sizes and everything. So for the spruce and oak wood over here, like I said, I moved them in this direction quite a few blocks. If you remember, the beacon beam was a good ways away from the center plot. Now it's pretty much right up against each other. And even then, I'm still a little worried that this one's too small. I'll do a little bit of oak farming at some point and kind of decide if I want to expand it a little bit further. Over here, you can see I chipped away at the mountainside as promised, and my main goal was just to expose enough space for the river, and then the rest of the work I'll do when I actually terraform the cliffside. And so that's perfect as it is right now. Coming around to the backside of the acacia and dark oak plots, as you can see, I brought them out quite a few blocks. And I'm pretty happy with where they're at right now, especially because I exposed this cool ravine in the dark oak forest, and I think it would be really cool if I incorporated the cliff sides into it in some way, whether it be like straight or if I have them kind of curved down and I widen the ravine or something like that. A fun idea that I have is to bring out this river into this crevice here and have it flood into the ravine and maybe do like a cool waterfall or something like that. I don't really know exactly what I want to do, but that's just sort of a random idea that I'm throwing out there. But I definitely think this is a really perfect opportunity to start doing something cool and incorporating this area a little bit, because this is essentially just dead space that has never been used yet on my world. All of the plots were built 2 blocks thick for the extensions, and I did that so it'd be easier to throw in hidden lighting, because I just got torches underneath these carpets, and I would have to like place down a block every time I wanted to do one, and it just would have been more annoying. So I went ahead and made them 2 blocks thick, and it does that all the way around. This is much harder to do when I'm not in spectator mode. You see why I do spectator mode? For all of the hidden lighting that I put down, by the way, they're all spaced out evenly by 3 blocks diagonally. So it's a nice little grid, and I sort of use that as a good frame of reference to space out my trees in the different plots. For the dark oak wood, I basically just skip a diagonal row every time so that they're spaced out nicely. For the jungle and spruce wood, I space them out a little bit more. It looks like I do essentially what I do with the dark oak, I just do it diagonally. And for all the other single trees, I just plant them next to each carpet because they can be spaced that closely. So yeah, we're pretty much at the point now where I can go around and do cliffside terraforming around all of these plots here. I could also throw in little pathways that connect them up together. For the plots on the other side of the river here, I was thinking I could maybe do some land bridges that connect it to the other plots over here. I was thinking I could maybe do one right here. I think this is a perfect spot. But for areas like this, it's going to be a little bit more tricky because I don't want it to just go straight up. I don't think that would look very good. It needs to have a natural, gradual flow to it. So I might try and get a little creative with it. Like I could maybe do one right here that goes into like a cave or maybe like a landing, and then have that go up from there, something like that. So I quickly threw one in here just to get an idea of the shape, and I kind of like it having a sort of upwards curve to it, and this is about as steep as I think I want it to get. Ooh, and it's occurring to me now that if I want to get up there, I'm probably going to want a pathway that goes up this way as well. So I think I'm going to dig into this a little bit. I'll make this all look pretty and stuff later. I'm only concerned with just getting things laid out for the time being here. Let's get this out of the way. Yeah, so I'm thinking something kind of like this would feel nice. Maybe I'll curve this a little bit more so there's a bit more of a smooth transition. Always test your staircases, ladies and gentlemen. Don't just throw them down. Walk back and forth, up and down. Make sure everything feels nice. Okay, yeah. So this is feeling pretty good. And this is essentially what I'm going to be going around and doing all throughout these plots here is having all these different pathways that connect everything up. God, this jump boost feels so weird. Yeah, right. So I put in jump boost for this beacon over here, adjacent to the acacia plot, because one thing that I found when doing acacia is that it usually grows an extra block or two tall. So when I'm farming them, I'm always finding myself pillaring up just one block to get that final piece. And adding jump boost basically makes it so I don't have to worry about that anymore. The only issue is that it doesn't like cover the whole plot. Like you can see, I don't have it over here. So I might end up reverting back to just my normal beacon setup. Oh wait, is it not this beacon? Which one did I do it for? Oh, maybe it was just the one over at the tree plot here. Yeah, okay, so it's over here. This one. So I don't know if I'm just gonna have it be on all the surrounding beacons nearby, or, you know, because it's kind of annoying, I might just end up having like a jump boost potion stand over here for these guys specifically. I'll decide what I want to do later. I'm tempted to switch it off right now because it is really annoying. So I finished up the pathways over here, and just like I thought, connecting them into a cave worked pretty well. Made the transition pretty gradual, and I think it feels pretty good. I might expand the cave a little bit more. Again, I'm just trying to lay out these pathways to get a sense of where they're going to go and how they're going to feel. Then I'll fancy them up with terraforming later. With the cave entrances here, I think I'm going to try and blend that into the normal cliffside terraforming and try and do something cool with it. Maybe try and have it be a sort of overhanging cave entrance type of thing. I'll mess around with it when the time comes. You guys know. This plot is going to be a bit of a challenge to connect up. Like, I'm specifically thinking of the spruce plot down here. Like, I don't know how I want to connect these two together. It's probably going to be a bunch of cave entrances and spiral stairs and crap like that. Realistically, I could just fly up with my elytra, and I probably will, but I still want to actually take the time to connect up a pathway between the two, because I think it'll just add more to the world, and it's nice to be able to have that option in case, for whatever reason, I don't have my elytra. So, all right, and magically I threw it in, and it's all perfect and ready to go. Not really. I just threw it in as best I thought it would go, and I figured having it go into here, like I said, would work pretty good. Have it curve up a little bit, and then it comes out on the top over here. I'm not 100% sold on the layout. You know, I'll probably tweak this a little bit, but it's a good start, and I would pretty much say those are all the bridges and pathways that I want to throw down. And yeah, I think we're at that point again where it's time for me to just bang out a bunch of work. So again, I'll be back in however long it takes, and I might stop you along the way if there's anything noteworthy. See ya.
3 days later.
All right, I'm back. It's been a little while. Worked for probably 6 or 7 hours. I honestly don't have a good grasp on the number, but it's been a couple of days, and I've got a bunch to show you. So let me jump into spectator mode real quick here. And as you can see, I started right around this corner over here, got the pathway done, and this wraps all the way around here, looking really, really nice. Got the pathway done going through the mountain or the cliff, whatever you want to call it, and down to this plot over here. The connected pathways definitely was a fun thing to work on because, you know, I had to sort of feel out how it would all connect together, and it was just a back and forth of messing with it, and I think it turned out really, really cool. And it stretches all the way over to here as well. There's definitely a lot more to go, but I wanted to stop and show you guys this right here just to show you my progress. And also to mention that my whole terraforming process was covered in episode 1 of this Let's Play, so if you want to check that out, I will link it down in the description. Also, if it wasn't already obvious, I'm a little bit stuffy. Yeah, I got a little bit of some seasonal allergies going on. I'm feeling good though, I just unfortunately can't get this stuff out of my nose. And I was initially holding off on recording more until I got better, but I still haven't. And I really want to keep working on this video, so I'm deciding to push through, and I hope you guys don't mind too much. So where does that leave us now? Well, I was initially planning on just banging out this whole tree farm in this episode, but that's quite an undertaking, and you know, things have come up that have obviously put a wrench in that plan, and I think the safer option is
to decide not to do that, especially because it connects to a lot of other things around the world that are obviously not finished yet, and working on the tree farm will also lead to working on those projects that I'm just not ready for yet. So with that in mind, I think the best course of action is let's take a break. I'm definitely still on track to continue working down the acacia plot here. It's just I've been working at it for a while and I could use a change of pace. So let's go back over to the Nether Mountain here and work on that for a little bit. Now, full disclaimer here, I have never really done something like this before, so this is me basically giving my best crack at it. If anyone has some good advice, I'm open ears. Basically what I'm trying to do here is obviously make a big Nether Mountain. I think my ultimate plans for it are to try and turn it into a cool volcano, but that's miles down the road, and my goal to begin with is just to get the basic shape. What I have right now are me branching out what I like to call the roots of the mountain, because I find that mountains do tend to look very similar to thick root systems of trees. And so today what I'd like to do is work on this section of the mountain here in between these two roots. I'd like to bulk them up and make them even bigger, and then do a sort of indent in between them to make it look sort of like a valley in the mountain. I sort of did that on the section over here that I was talking about earlier, but when I was doing it, I basically was just connecting the dots, and it didn't turn out quite the way that I wanted. So I'm going to try and be a little bit more pronounced with the indent here. I'm going to start by taking this thing out. This doesn't belong here anymore. It was going to be another one of the big roots, but I just decided that it didn't fit. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do to start out with here is I'm going to bulk up the base of these roots. Right now I'm doing like 3 or 4 blocks on either side. And what I want to do is I want to have these roots taper so that they get thicker as they go down. I think it'll look pretty good, and it'll really bulk it up the way that I'd like. Looking at this right now, the main thing that strikes me is I think the main root needs to be thickened more, because I think even at the top it needs to be thicker than that. So I'm gonna go along this thing and add another block on either side. And look at that. Just that little bit of bulking up has really made this thing look a lot better. So I'm gonna continue to taper it down to the bottom here, and we'll see what that looks like. So it's all thickened up now, and I think it's right about where I want it. Of course, it does look a little weird because I've only branched out blocks horizontally. The next step is going to be to add blocks vertically. I basically want to turn this ridge into a sharp point that's only a couple of blocks wide. So that's going to take a lot of blocks and a lot of time. Let's get to it. So what I decided to do here is pillar up 6 blocks at the center of the ridge. That way I can basically establish a sharp line where the peak of the ridge will be, and then I can essentially just work off of that as I continue to bulk it up. And I actually ended up tapering it as it went up to the top because I felt that that would look a little bit better. So this is what we got, and now it's just a matter of connecting the two together. And the way that I'm going to do that is, I'm actually not sure, because I could, for one, do it sort of like a parabolic curve, which would look nice, but that's basically the look of the valley that I'm going to be making in between these two ridges anyways. So I think the better move is to just do sort of the reverse of that. Yeah, so something a little bit more like this, I think. And maybe I'll actually have the ridge be a couple blocks thick near the bottom, because it is thicker at the bottom anyways. And yeah, I just went ahead and did it. I tinkered around with it a little bit here and there, but ultimately I landed on this. It's skinnier and sharper at the top, and then tapers down into a thicker ridge at the bottom. And I think it looks pretty good. I really like the shape. Obviously the block placement is a little weird. It doesn't look natural, and I'll blend that together later. But again, I was just concerned with getting the mass in place so I can move forward here. And so now the next step is just to repeat this again over on this ridge to the left here. So I'm just going to go ahead and bang that out, and I'll talk to you guys in a little bit.
2 hours later.
Wow is all I have to say. This thing really is starting to look nice now that this second root is done. And it didn't even take that long to do. I banged it out pretty quickly. It only took about 2 hours. and I'm very, very happy with it. I think it's really starting to take shape and make this thing feel like a solid mountain. So the next step for this thing is to fill it in. And like I said, I wanted to do a valley in the middle, but I think I'm gonna save that part for the next video. It's already taken me way longer to get this video done than I was hoping for, and I'm really eager to get it out. So I think this is a good stopping point. There are some pillagers here. Anytime I encounter these guys, I always just like fly away until they despawn. Because if I fight them, then I get the bad omen effect, and if I'm anywhere near my village, that'll start a raid, and I don't want that. So real quick, before I end the video here, I thought I might stop by the tree farm again and do one last little project. So as you might know, I really like hidden ender chests. I love sprinkling them all around my world because it's great to have quick access to an ender chest, and it's just a fun little excuse to do some redstone. So I've started to figure this thing out a little bit. I want to have a hidden ender chest somewhere around here, buried in the ground. And the best way I figured I would do it is by using a double piston extender. So I went ahead and made a little mock-up here just based off of a quick Google search, because I am not a redstone guy. Let me make that very clear. I just Googled a quick little vertical double piston extender, and this thing does the trick. Look at how quick and easy that is. Isn't that awesome? And all that I really needed to do was just transplant this bad boy underground, and voila, hidden ender chest. Slight issue with this one though, I can't actually access it, so I'm gonna have to be slightly more creative. And after a little bit of fine tuning, I got it so that the ender chest is hidden underneath a staircase here. That way I can actually access it. And voila, hidden ender chest complete. And that's going to wrap it up for this video today. As I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of things that have come up that have prevented me from making more of these and making them more frequently. But at the end of the day, it's just something I got to work on. And one thing I can say for sure is getting all of the work done that I did in today's episode is really encouraging, and I'm really excited to continue making these videos. But anyways, that is it for this video. Take it easy, and I'll see you next time.